Hi, welcome back to the Revolution Approved podcast. I'm Ken,
I'm Jen.
and we are here at our home base, the Holistic Revolution Fitness Facility to the Stars. And we have been on a break for the last 2 weeks because it's been the holidays and our kids have been off of school, so we didn't want to make a podcast with our crazy kids running and screaming in the background. So we're back. And according to my watch, it is after the first of the year. So today we thought
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year indeed. And we thought it would be a good idea. We're in the prime New Year's resolution zone. The gyms are packed full. You're elbowing me out of the way here. The gyms are packed full of eager, willing participants to get in great shape and make 2019 the best year that they've had in a really long time. And so I thought it would be good to take a second or take an entire podcast and talk about kind of how to navigate the minefield that is New Year's resolutions. And I know that we talked earlier this week about what we were going to talk about on this podcast. Yes, we do prepare. We're not totally off the cuff. And you had some really good points as far as kind of strategies that you use. I thought they were quite brilliant.
Ooh,
So
thank you.
go ahead.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so take the floor, Jen, and kind of break down your strategies for change.
The revolution resolutions,
Aha, yes.
if you will.
I like that.
Ah,
I like that. That's good stuff.
Okay, so I like to go into the new year. I do like making resolutions. I am a person that likes to, maybe toy around with using a word for the year or having a game plan for the year, kind of, pseudo goals for myself, mentally, physically, occupationally. And I don't take those real hard and fast. I don't, they're not real black and white. I try and just use that as a guide to get me through the year. Maybe if something is, maybe tripping me up, or I'm finding that I'm maybe out of balance a little bit, or I'm kind of, losing my way, so to speak. These are things that, for me personally, ring a bell, ring true. I can kind of come back to and, maybe regain some focus. So the first thing I like to do is address water. I like to take my resolutions very slowly. I like everything to be real habit-based. So my goal is not, I want to lose 30 pounds and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to drop all carbs and all sugar and all alcohol and all fun and all everything. I'm just going to drop it all. And I'm going to be a robot, and I'm going to go into the new year, and I'm going to be laser focused, and that's going to be super sustainable. No, it's not. You're going to fail, and it's going to fail after probably 2 to 3 weeks. If you make it the full month of January, hats off, but you will definitely be alone in that.
Yeah,
I think most people are going to find that they're going to fizzle out pretty fast.
Well, the national average, gym average, if you are a person who is supremely irritated by not having a locker or having to park way in the back, although we wouldn't know why you'd be irritated by that because you should be in shape to walk from the parking lot, but whatever.
Front row.
Yeah, I digress. The national average is 6 weeks, so second week of February is when most people
So
clear
Valentine,
out.
as soon as that chocolate comes into the store.
Yeah, so
Gorgeous.
we've talked about
Chocolate.
in previous podcasts about kind of the reasons why some of these plans don't work, as far as not the goal part, which we're going to talk about here in a second, but just the mechanics of too much, too fast, and that.
Sure.
But the average is, if you were worried, just wait until the second week of February, and most of the New Year's resolutioners will clear out by then. But
The gym is a little too busy for you?
yes, but what
Give
I was
it a
gonna
couple weeks.
what I was gonna ask you was, do you think that can you have no goal? Because I know there's a big movement out there that's anti-resolution. Like, a lot of people think resolutions are stupid.
Sure.
And is resolution
Definitely.
is resolution to you to me it's just a word. Like you say,
Okay.
I have a New Year's resolution to read more. Like that's always one of mine.
Sure.
Is I have a couple authors that I made a goal for myself this year to read their entire.
Well, resolution means goal,
Their
right?
catalog. Yeah, so they're kind of I take them as interchangeable. So when clients say to me, "Oh, it's my New Year's resolution to train one more day, train 4 days a week," I don't go, "Oh, it's a resolution," and I get negative about just the word.
Well, yeah, and I think
I
a
think
lot
about
of
it's
people do.
more-
A lot of people take
more a
it as
goal.
a very negative thing. It's immediate way to fail, right? You put a goal out there, maybe you write it on paper, and as soon as it's out there, and as soon as you speak it into truth, you fail, right? So don't take the word resolution or January 1st or it's a Monday. Don't take any of these things real seriously, right? I like using the beginning of the year because it's a new year.
It's a fresh start.
It's a fresh start. It's a time to reevaluate how last year went for me, reevaluate what I want this year to bring to me, or what I want to try and work into this year for myself, for my family, for our business.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I like that fresh start. I like having that New Year's resolution, if you will. I don't think that you need to get hung up on it. Again, if things don't work out and you can't start until January 12th, start January 12th. If you can't do anything because it's not Monday, why are you hung up on Monday? Who cares?
So you're kind of more, you're more esoteric. You're more kind of just flowy with your approach than.
Yes.
Because you said that earlier about
Yes.
the hard and fast, and I think that.
Yes.
I think that we have a tendency towards militancy in
Yes.
a lot of stuff, like the militant approaches to nutrition and diet related stuff, the training, people having nervous breakdowns about not being able to make it to the gym on just one day.
Yeah.
So, and as to where I think, at least from an exercise perspective, our program or our way of thinking is long form. So we're thinking,
Yes.
we're thinking about a month from now, 3 months from now, 6,
Sustainable.
a year, sustainability. So we're programming for the year
Yes.
in a program, not for next week.
Right.
Right,
And
so-
I think that's how you should address your goals. You should look at it as not that you want to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds or 130 pounds. You should look at it as, I want to be healthier. I want to, I don't know, I want to sleep better. I want to be more clear-headed during the day. I want to be able to go outside and play with my kids without having to stop and take a break and, oh, mommy's sitting down again. This is no fun. This sucks. I want to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
So, and to me personally, I think, again, the weight will come. The lung capacity, the endurance will come as long as you are consistent.
So you're saying smaller, more manageable chunks. Because there would be some people who would say to you, okay, saying you want to get healthier, okay, that's a great start, but it's too vague. So
Okay.
what about, I would look at it from the perspective of saying, well, what about being healthier is enough for you to want to change?
Sure, we would go down the question. Okay,
yeah.
I want to be healthier. Why?
Right, yeah.
Well, I want to lose weight.
Why?
Well, how much weight do you want to lose? Well, I want my BMI to be down. Okay, why? So again, taking those
That was fun. That was cool.
taking those small, manageable chunks and letting everything build. And we can talk about that with training. We can talk about that
Yeah.
with eating.
I want to, and I'm going to ask you about the water thing that you brought up earlier in a second. But in speaking of training, we put out a post the other day on Facebook, and we talked about the 2.5 pound plate, and we call it the plan. And so we break records in here by 5 pounds. So 2.5 on each side is 5 pounds. Okay.
Yes.
Slow and steady. And people always laugh at that, and they go, "Oh, 5 pounds. Who
5
cares
pounds?
about 5 pounds?" Well,
I only PR'd by 5 pounds?
yeah. Well, but if you broke that record every month for a year, that's 60 pounds.
It's huge.
Right.
That's a huge gain.
So we're always looking from a training perspective, we're always looking to leave the gym on a positive note. We're always looking to leave and continue momentum.
Yes.
So we'll give you an easy and I'll give you an easy example of this for the podcast audience, and the person shall remain nameless. But they had a PR. I told them to break it by 5 pounds, so I go to grab the 2.5s. No. Throw 15 pounds on there.
Yep.
We throw 15 pounds on there, the bar doesn't budge.
Doesn't even move.
They're now disappointed. If we would have put the 2.5s on each side, I would be willing to bet quite a sum of money that they would have broke that PR. Okay?
And they would have left pumped up,
right?
excited, ready to train the next day,
So-
and instead they're down. I don't get this. This isn't working. I don't understand.
Yeah, so I want to put that over in the context of this conversation. And again, we're going to get to what you do specifically in the habits, but that you got to give yourself room to grow.
Yes.
You got to give yourself margin. And so I think when we're setting up these resolutions or these goals, it sounds dumb and it's cliche, but the 2 pounds a week, the 1 more meal, the 5 more pounds to break the PR, that is what's going to carry you, and that's what's going to be sustainable. Because what kills people is they get to a point where progress halts, and because they've used shotgun style techniques,
Yes.
they get to a point where their back's up against the wall now and they don't know what to do, and so then here comes the quit, and then with the quit comes they don't reach their
Yeah, I mean,
resolution.
that's where a lot of where I come from, and my personal, mentality on all of this is the small increments. And I know people get annoyed with me and they go, drink an extra glass of water for a week? That's crap. What the hell?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about. And that's fine. That's your opinion. But I'm here to say that if you are drinking 0 water and you go to 1 glass a day, 1 glass a day, 1 glass a day, 1 glass a day, by the end of that week, you've now created what? A habit. So now you're in the habit of drinking that 1 glass. So that on your second week, when you add 2 glasses, right? 2, now you've created that habit. So after, a month or 2 of just focusing on your water, you're now made a habit of it. You're used to drinking this water. Your body is now acclimated to drinking the water, right? You have now created this habit for yourself that now drinking the water isn't a shock to the system. It's not a shock to my daily routine. It's not a shock to my body. I'm not in the bathroom all day. I'm now acclimated to it. So now that you are hydrated, you can start focusing on, okay, let's cut out the processed food. Just start with breakfast, okay? So now you're building on, okay, now I'm drinking enough water. So now in addition to that water, you are going to now focus on your breakfast instead of stopping and getting an egg white delight, maybe.
with a Diet Coke.
Maybe. You're going to potentially make, an egg at home. Or you're going to have a 1/4 cup of nuts. Or you're going to change
It's just
that.
something better.
You're going to change that original processed piece of crap into something real. So now your body can start the day on a good note. You're now hydrated after you fasted, break fast, right? Your breakfast. You are going to start your body and your organs off with some good water. Hopefully it's fresh and clean. It doesn't have to be cold. I know people freak out if it's not cold. Lukewarm water is actually better for your body. We'll go into that somewhere else probably. Start with some water. Now you've started with a good breakfast. Okay, you've built on that for a week, maybe 2 weeks. Now you've built that habit. So now we can build on a lunch. Okay, so now you have your water, you have your good breakfast, and now we're gonna start, okay, now our lunch usually consists of going out with coworkers and you get,
Jimmy John's.
or you're getting chicken tenders and fry basket, or you're getting burger or whatever. And not that these things are bad, but if you're trying to change habits and you're trying to eat healthier, or maybe you have a goal of losing weight, or you have a goal of performing better in a gym, or you have, you know, the overarching goal of just living healthier, you're now eating, you know, now you have your breakfast, now you have your lunch, they're real food, your body can use that, you have energy all day now because it's real food, your body's getting vitamins and minerals where maybe it wasn't before.
And I think that that's interesting. If I could interrupt for 1 second, interrupt your train of thought, because this is very interesting. I find it very interesting that you, and this is one of the reasons why people, this is the cardinal reason in the gym industry, the gym scenario, that people fail. You started off talking about restorative techniques, things that give you energy.
Sure.
Exercise takes energy away. That's why it's called a workout. So you're talking about a work in, to quote Paul Chek. Okay?
Yeah.
So and I found that very interesting. Water, food, high quality, always erring to the side of quality, slowly building. If you eat 1 meal a day, it's got to go to 1 meal and a snack. It's got to go to 1 meal, a snack, and then a second meal. It's got to go, you got to work it that way.
Yes.
We didn't get to sleep yet, which I'm sure you were going to talk about, which would be the ultimate form of recovery. But you didn't start off by saying you need to go to the gym 4 days a week.
Right.
You need to do this. So,
Right.
because Americans, I got news for you, and your copious consumption of stimulants is a telltale sign there's no energy
Yeah.
in America. So you got people on January 1st going into a gym, and they're bouncing energy checks.
Yeah.
Right, so
Yeah.
they're writing an energy check to their body, and it's bouncing, and it's going to bounce on the second week of February. It's finally going to hit the wall and go to collections, and it's going to get collected at the doctor's office.
How many big box gyms have you walked into and they have a cooler, maybe off to the side or maybe behind the counter, that is filled with energy drinks?
Yeah, garbage. And we're talking about energy
What
drinks.
are you doing?
Yeah, and we're talking about to the standpoint of, let's face it, if you, and this is, we take our programming seriously here. We monitor, as we've talked about in previous podcasts, skill level and intensity, capacity and demand,
Yes.
stress and recovery, all those things. Improperly prescribed exercise can kill you, okay?
Yeah.
Properly prescribed exercise can leave you, obviously we know all the benefits of exercise, we don't need to go into them.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line between that. And so now you have an entire industry that has sold you on the fact that you need 300 milligrams of caffeine to do what? A bicep workout? I mean, this is ridiculous, right? So we're not talking about training hard. We're not talking about monitoring any of those variables. We're talking about just surviving. What most of our clients
Look,
in
and
here
this is,
would,
this is really, we're kind of making light of it, but it's kind of a serious issue because
It's very serious.
if you are, I don't care what age you are, what shape you think you're in, or you may or may not be in, but when you're going into a workout, you're raising your blood pressure. Your heart is working a lot harder already. So when you start a workout or end a workout with all these energy drinks, I don't care if they come in a powder form and you're shaking them up, or they're powder and you're scooping them into your mouth.
which
or,
is terrible for you, by the way.
Yeah, if you're doing all of this, you're elevating that heart rate more and more and more. Look, your heart can only pump so fast, and eventually you're gonna get palpitations, or you're gonna have some kind of high blood pressure issue, and that's gonna lead to way more serious issues
Yeah,
than I want to lose some weight, or I want to grow my bicep.
Yeah.
And those are all fine goals. But if again your body can't even handle training because now you've blown out your heart,
Yeah, not to mention lest we
that's a serious deal.
yes, lest we forget the copious amounts of preservatives and dyes and other nonsense horse shit that's in
Right.
these drinks.
Right.
And in the interest of full disclosure, I myself was once a hardcore caffeine consumer. I've weaned myself off now of it for a fair bit of time now, and I can definitely
Yeah,
tell the difference.
thankfully,
I
yeah.
was susceptible to it too, to the point where I got to a point and I was like, what the hell's going on here? I
Yep.
can't
Yep.
continue to
They're
do this.
super addictive.
So, and
They
that
are.
goes for coffee consumers too. There's
Yeah,
a big difference between
yeah.
1 cup of coffee and 7.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we're talking about energy management,
Yeah.
we're talking about energy balance, and I think going back and circling back around to the habits, that's the thing that gets people hamstrung, is the fact that they just simply run out of energy. The change process, the resolution goal process requires energy.
Right.
He who has the most is gonna win. They're gonna be able to last the longest.
Yeah.
So if you run out of it, hey, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the dangers of all of that
Yeah,
stuff
for another time.
I mean, I can go on and on about chemical and whatever, but I think definitely, you know, if you can get your body running at a high energy level naturally, which it will, if you know you're getting enough sleep, you are well hydrated, and you're eating quality real food, your body you'll have so much energy, you'll be like bouncing off the walls. People will look at you like, what the hell's your problem?
Yeah.
And you're like, this is just, I feel great. I feel really good.
And to speak on the and to loop back, because I'll provide the training piece here too. The goal of training is not to leave exhausted.
True.
Okay, this goes back to the 5-pound PR. The goal of training, as Louis Simmons says, it's not so you want to pick exercises that don't get the most out of you, but you get the most out of.
Ooh.
Okay, so it
He's
doesn't.
smart, that
Yeah,
Louis.
yes, he is. It doesn't matter in the beginning what you do, as long as you're seeing. But you're seeing this again. It's a cult-like obsession with hard for the sake of hard. Which, if you train hard on Monday, but then your recovery processes, to your point about the sleep, the water, and the food, are so terrible that you can't move for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, well, you just lost 3 potential days of training.
Yeah.
So frequency has to stay low. So if the frequency's low, you're not gonna get that much out of it.
Yeah.
Because it is true, he who trains the most wins, but also he who recovers the most can train the most, right? So you have to balance those factors. Let's talk for a second about sleep's role in that. Do you have any? What's your kind of your ethos on?
Well, sleep is the master of recovery, right? That's when your muscles grow. That's when your organs can recover. That's when digestion can relax and take a little bit of a break. That's when your brain can shut off and recharge and take a little bit of a break. And ultimately, you know, when you sleep, your blood pressure comes down a little bit, giving your heart a break. It gives your all of your veins, your arteries, your everything gets to take a break, and it gets to recover and recharge
Rejuvenate.
and rejuvenate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that you can again wake up ready for another, 12 or 18 hours of constant work, because your body doesn't know if you're sitting on the couch or or if you're sitting at a computer at work, or if you are walking to the bus stop, or if you're walking on a treadmill.
Okay, so very good point. It just recognizes stress. Okay.
Yes.
So it doesn't know. It doesn't distinguish between a 400-pound deadlift and getting chased by a bear. It's all stress. It does. So when you think of it in that term, again, from Ken's training corner here, what you have to look at is the problem that you're running into when you get run down, and that 6-week example that we gave of people just exhausting themselves so badly that they could just quit, is your body doesn't recognize the difference between, like I said, 450-pound deadlift, spilling coffee on yourself, getting stuck by a train, getting in a screaming match with your significant other, work crap, kids are sick, this, that. It's all cumulative.
Yeah.
So as you go into the gym at 5 o'clock at night, after your body has endured all this stress throughout the day, there's been no pressure release valves in the form of water consumption, maybe a nap, journaling, good food, meditation break, so on and so forth. There's been none of that. So you get to the gym at 5 o'clock and the body goes, lat pull down, sprinting on the treadmill. What the hell? And
Didn't we already run from
Did-
that bear
yeah,
earlier when
exactly.
you argued with your whoever?
Yeah.
Or didn't you already, didn't we already exhaust ourselves when you were picking up all those toys at home and you were pissed off about
Yes.
it?
So the key thing is that that stress builds and builds and builds, and your body doesn't know the difference from it. It's only reacting to stress. So this is how
Yeah.
you turn exercise from, as we could say, a good stressor into a bad. So gravity is a stressor, 9.82 meters per second squared. Sometimes it's good. If you're posturally not in the right position, gravity can be very bad. Yes. So keep that in mind when you're talking about exercise programs. The cumulative nature of it. You got to have those pressure release valves in there in the form of the recovery things that you're talking about. If you're going to make, and you get those recovery things by exhibiting good habits, like you're saying, and starting small and starting slow and gradually, incrementally increasing over time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've all heard the exact same example of, look at your body like a car. If you're not putting good gas in it, it's not gonna work. If you're not doing the maintenance on it, it's not gonna work. If you're not changing the tires, it's not gonna go, right? We've all heard that. But it's really true in the simple fact that your body is a machine. And if you're not fueling it, and you're not lubricating it, and you're not resting it, you're not taking care of it to an utmost, standard, it's gonna crap
It'll
out.
start to break down. Yeah.
I mean, it's just as simple as that. So let's not go into the, resolution season. If you want to be gung-ho, great. You want to be super motivated, great. Let's not go a million miles an hour and fizzle out in February. Let's take small steps. Let's fuel our body. Let's take care of our bodies. It's the only one we're going to get. Let's keep it working to the ability that it can work, which it's a human body. It should work pretty freaking awesome.
And yes,
And let's get this going for a sustainable, again,
Yes.
word of the day.
and stop letting the propaganda machine of the nutrition and fitness industry
Yes.
bamboozle
Yes.
you into believing that quick fixes are possible.
Yes, that
Yeah.
infomercial does not
Yeah.
know more than you do.
That the quick fix is the 6-week challenge, the 30-day blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Take your time, slow down, look at it as it's a journey. If you're not in the position that you want to be in, if you're behind the 8 ball and you're looking at health challenges, well, unfortunately, it took you a while to get to the health challenge.
Yeah,
And it's going to take you a while to get out of the health challenge.
agreed.
So recognize the difference between the two, work towards feeling good, keep energy levels high. If you feel like training, train. If you don't feel like training, maybe you just stretch, maybe you rest. Make sure water's high. Create those little tiny habits like you talked about, one more
Yes.
glass. Like we always say
Yes.
in here, one, or not even me, I can't take credit for it. This goes to Charlie Francis, Canadian track coach, 1 to 3%. If you can't get 1 to 3% better every training session, so what does that mean? That means one more rep, one more second of something, one more pound. If you can't do that, it's time to take a break.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the easiest, simplest way to do it. Fall back on those recovery, boost your recovery game and the training, like I think we talked about.
Yeah, and it's not a negative to say, I'm just too tired today.
I think we talked about this in a previous podcast. I talked about it somewhere. I don't know. But if
When you
you're
talk
not,
nonstop,
yeah,
it's hard to pinpoint.
That's right. If you're not into training, if the thought of training, if the thought of exercising is very, very nerve-rattling to you, if you don't like it, I don't blame you. Okay.
It
Because
causes anxiety.
Yeah, because there's a lot about gyms that is unsettling and nerve-wracking. So I can understand a person being nervous about that. If that is the case, then you air all your chips to the side of recovery, up to the side of good water and good food. Those who eat the best have to train the least.
Absolutely.
So automatically, when we get somebody in here from one of these places who shall remain nameless, it's 6 days a week, twice a day, all this horse shit, I instantly know the diet is trash because you shouldn't have to train that hard to look good in a freaking shirt. Okay,
Yeah.
so quit being sold on nonsense. Start the habits off. You got anything else you want to finish up with?
Take it slow, take it small. Let's make sure that the goals we set in January last us through December to the next January. Let's find the sustainable solution. Let's do it. It's possible.
How revolutionary,
Ooh.
right? You like that?
Revolution resolutions.
Boom. Okay, I'm Ken.
I'm Jen.
And this is the Revolution Approved Podcast. If you like it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share this podcast. And we will be back next week with another episode.
And let's talk. Let us know. Let us know what your resolutions are. Let us know what your tips and tricks are. Let's discuss.
Let's get a conversation started. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.